A year ago, I bought myself a new bike. I hadn't been on a motorcycle in 25 years, since 1998. That's quite a long time to be away from something. But it felt right. It didn't seem to matter that I was 68 years old. It didn't even matter that now I could see out of only one eye. I remember getting my first bike back in '81, a Kawasaki 550 LTD. I had been over at a friend's house. He had a Honda 750. When I showed interest in it, he handed me the key and let me ride it up and down his street. I had never been on a motorcycle before, had no training. But he quickly showed me the controls and off I went up and down the street a couple of times. But that's all it took. I was hooked. Within weeks, I had my Kawasaki. Back then, I was all into racing on the freeways and lane splitting on city streets, and zooming through the twisty canyons of the Santa Susana Mountains down to PCH. I did that for 17 years until a job moved me to another state in a more complicated situation. For a lot of reasons, I stopped riding. Fast forward 25 years. I have a bike again. I find my enjoyment of motorcycling hasn't changed, but now I'm open to other ways of expressing it. Sometimes now I actually enjoy the scenery at a slower speed and cruise easy without competition or being in a rush. I've got nothing to prove, no one to impress, no uncharted territory or macho rite of passage to initiate myself into. It's been a year since I've been back riding. In that year, I've come up with 10 things one should think about before getting back on a bike after a long time away from it. Take it for what it's worth, but these things are things to consider if you haven't ridden in a long time and suddenly feel the itch for two-wheel entertainment. Number one is why. Be honest. Why are you getting back into it? Have you got time on your hands? Need a hobby? You remember what it was like years ago? Maybe you have new friends who ride. You want to go along with them. It's a social thing. How pressured do you feel to do this? And where's that push coming from? Do you want to recapture some of the fun of your youth? Or perhaps you want to prove to yourself that you still got it. Maybe it's just fun. It's likely it's all of these reasons and more. Bottom line, whatever the reason, it better be realistic. Know exactly why you want to ride again and be firmly aligned with what that means. Number two, physicality. What is your physical condition? Forget your high school trophies. How athletic are you now? How's your balance, eyesight, reflexes, stamina? Do you have any other hobbies that require physicality? Use it or lose it, but be truthful. How much of what it takes are you now able to use? The old saying goes, it's like riding a bicycle, meaning once learned, it's never forgotten. But motorcycles aren't bicycles. Physical skills atrophy without practice. Be sure your body and coordination is up to the challenge. Number three, finances. What are your finances? For most people, bikes are a luxury, not a necessity. Are you on a fixed income? How does a bike fit in with that? Consider the gear needed, the ongoing maintenance costs, cost of insurance. How much can you afford to buy, and does that level of bike properly match how you want to use it? You might dream of long distance touring, but actually can only afford a bike that does something less. Be mindful of the total ongoing costs of owning a motorcycle. For most, the money angle is okay, no problem. Except spending a bundle on something it turns out you rarely use might not sit well. Number four, bike selection. What bike are you going to get? Ready to get your dream bike? Maybe a bike to match the ones your friends have, so you fit in, feel you're one of them. Or worst of all, a bike that matches the macho image you want to project while riding. Maybe you want a show bike, all chrome and high-priced mods. one that'll turn heads and give you bragging rights. But if any of these bikes fall over, will you be able to pick them up by yourself? How difficult will it be for you to handle these bikes on slow speed maneuvers? How will you really use this bike? Are you getting the bike to match a dream scenario, or what becomes the reality of use? If balancing skills aren't there, maybe a trike or Can-Am would be more suitable. Yeah, 200 horsepower is awesome, but be honest, how much of that power are you going to use? Big engines and big pipes come with big weight. Some insist on the image of a big bad biker and need a 900-pound bike. There are lots of touring bikes commuting to local watering holes, and badass sport bikes that never peg their rev limiters. Whatever works for you, but think about it. Go on test rides of different bikes. Be sure you're going to enjoy the ride as much as the image you project. Number 5, training. What training are you going to do, if any? Since you rode before, do you feel no training is necessary? How much training did you have long ago when you rode before? You thought you were good at it, but were you? The fact that you didn't kill yourself before might have been dumb luck. What do you think of doing some training to refresh those skills? Do you feel the MSF course is enough? Maybe. Is any training ever enough? Even for professional riders, training provides ways to get better. It may be that little extra that skill training adds that makes the difference in a pinch. So think about it. Number 6, pace yourself. Now you can ride again. So do you intend on jumping into it or easing in? Once you get your bike, are you going to take it in stages and keep the riding local and manageable while you adjust to being back at it? Or maybe you intend on going on a long ride right away. Are you going to keep the speed down at first and only go faster as confidence comes back? Are you going to avoid the more technical twisties at first until confidence in the mechanics of throttle, clutch, brake, countersteering, and lane placement returns? Practice the things your riding style is weak at. Add difficulty incrementally. Do more when you've validated you're ready for more. Number 7, groups are going solo. What's up on your schedule? Group rides at first or solo rides? Are you going to adjust to riding again by refreshing skills, going only on solo rides at first? Or since your buddies know you now have a bike, do you feel obliged right away to go with them on a group ride? And if you go on their group ride, will you feel pressured to keep up with the pack? Feel pressured to demonstrate your prowess on a bike? Are you ready to do this? Are you going to ride your ride, or let the social situation dictate your behavior? Get comfortable. Iron out the kinks on solo rides first. Don't let the fear of appearing less than the others push you beyond your skill level. Only when you're ready, join the group. Number 8, reality check. So you're back at it, riding again. Are you open to a reality check? Staying open to modifying how you go forward? Are you honest with yourself about how it's going? Are you willing to temper your expectations based on your actual physical condition and skill? Or will you delude yourself in how it's developing? Maybe you need to admit that night riding is out completely. Maybe you need to realize group rides have too many unsettling dynamics. Maybe you need to reassess the size and type of bike and get one that truly fits. Maybe you need to swear off riding in the dirt and stay on road, or vice versa. Maybe you need to keep rides local and not try multi-day long touring rides. Or maybe you need to acknowledge that your wish to ride doesn't match your abilities anymore. Whether it's a minor change or stopping riding altogether, listen to your own reality check. Number 9, overconfidence. Okay, so you've considered all of these things and you're back riding, and it's fun. But there's something else to consider. Be aware of the signs of overconfidence. You might be a good rider, everything's fine. But don't let that go to your head. For example, you're out on a ride, everything's going great, and the situation presents itself for you to volunteer to go two up, take a passenger. But you haven't practiced that since being back riding. For years, you haven't done that. But you don't want to disappoint. You figure you've been zipping around just fine, and so even though there's a nagging small voice of uncertainty about it, you assume everything should be great. Going two up should be no big deal. This is no time to find out you're wrong. Don't let overconfidence saddle you with dangerous risk. You're riding again. It's good. Have fun, but always be self-aware enough to know your limitations. Number 10. No overthinking. Don't let any of these considerations make you gun-shy about getting back into motorcycling. Go for it. There's a lot to enjoy. There's nothing like returning to an activity you love and being thrilled by it all over again. It's always better to try for what you really want rather than regret you never did. So if anything, consider these 10 things, but then when you're out riding, clear all of that out of your head and just enjoy. The best riders are those who've internalized their lessons and don't have to think about any of it when they're out there on their bikes. Muscle memory for the body, attitude memory for the mind. But in the moment of riding, blissful amnesia.